Shari, it's a delight to be sitting here with you today. You were my former professor at the Harvard Graduate School of Education. You remain a lecturer. You're also a senior research associate for Project Zero. You were the senior investigator on the Artful Thinking project. Why do you think that art is so important for people and students specifically to think about?
I believe the reason we teach thinking is because we want to prepare young people to think about issues and topics and experiences in the real world. And the world is a really complex place, but it's also a really vivid place. And in a sense, works of art have those qualities. They're really complex. They reveal a lot as you look closely at them. They're multi-layered and they have many dimensions. Like the real world, they are open to multiple interpretations, multiple viewpoints, and bringing different viewpoints and perspectives to bear on a work of art often makes it richer, just as I think that's the case in what we call real life as well. Also, for young people, although works of art are very complex, just a little bit of investment of time and focus and attention yields a whole lot. You spend 2 or 3 minutes in front of a work of art looking closely, and you begin to understand and see so much more. Now you can spend hours and hours looking at works of art, or years, but there are very few topics in the curriculum that are at the same time really rich and complex, but also really available to the senses. So I think they provide a wonderful opportunity to develop thinking.
How did you first discover that art was such an impetus for deep thinking?
From almost all of my career, I've been interested in the development of thinking and how to teach critical thinking and creativity. And I've always had a deep interest in art. But I remember many years ago, I was in a classroom and I believe it was 5th graders. The teacher was showing a work of art to the students and using a protocol that got the students to slow way down and look closely at the work of art and sort of think about it. It was a big classroom, it was in New York City, and full with fidgety kids in their seats and moving around, and the work came up on a screen, and they continued to move, but the teacher kept asking them, well, what do you notice? And the students sort of started slowly, but there quickly became almost like this snowball effect, where the students just kept noticing more and more and more. And then they moved into thinking about what they were seeing and how that might help them understand what they were looking at. And this went on for maybe 15 or 20 minutes, which on the one hand isn't a terribly long period of time, but on the other hand, for a bunch of 5th graders looking at a work of art, it's pretty long. And I was just so impressed with the details that they were noticing, more than I would even have by standing in front of that work. And I think it was that experience that really hooked me and drew me in, and then I continued to try to understand that better.
Now, I remember you talking about the fact that you worked with a specific school. I think it was in Michigan. And
Traverse City.
That's
schools,
right.
Yeah.
That's right.
The charge was to work with the schools to develop an approach to looking at art that could be accessible to all students and that could be used by general classroom teachers, not necessarily art specialists. And we had developed the notion of routines in this other context, in the visible thinking context. And what routines try to do is take particular thinking moves like noticing, or reasoning, or asking questions, or making connections. These are moves that are very familiar even to young children and to teachers in all disciplines. And to take those and assemble them into small little sequences, a thinking routine, where the sequences would always begin with students' own observations and then use that as a starting place to help them start building interpretations.